middle of the lesson. All right, so yeah, try C through F, see what you get. I'm gonna zoom out for anyone that watches this video later. Pause it and write these down if you're taking notes on this, because I forgot to record. Okay, tell me what you got for C. That is the associative property of multiplication. Please don't abbreviate that one too short, and you're swearing at me. Notice they moved the parentheses, right? It was 4 times 2. Now it's 2 times 10 that goes first. Okay, so they moved those parentheses and just multiply in a different order. What'd you get for D? Identity property of? No. Of multiplication. Yeah, so if you multiply something by 1, you get that something back. Okay? Letter E? That's the multiplication property of -1. If you multiply by the opposite, you get the or a -1, you get the opposite. What's F? So a lot of people mix this one up because there are parentheses in there and things are moving. But did the parentheses move? Nope, just what was in it swapped places. So which one is that? That's commutative. This is the commutative property of addition. Okay. Okay. Then we're going to simplify some expressions here, which are going to use these properties. So 5 times 3n. Some of you are just going to see this and think like, seriously, lady, why are we moving this around? But I want you to see that this is the properties at work. Okay. 5 times 3n says, because it's all multiplication, that we can use the associative property and move my parentheses around the 5 and the 3 so that this becomes what? 15n. Okay, so that is using the associative property to simplify. Letter B, if we were technically going to think through how the properties get us to where we're going to go, and again, your brain is going to do this on its own, but if it doesn't, you're welcome to write it out this way. This is what's really happening here, okay? The first thing I would do is the commutative property, which is going to do what to this problem? It's going to swap what's in our parentheses, right? So 7b plus 4 plus 8, right? That's the commutative property. We're trying to get those constant numbers together and the ones with variables together, okay? The next property would be what then? It's the associative property, right? We're saying we want to add those constants together, the 4 and the 8. So your simplified version is 7b plus 12. And again, a lot of you look at this and you see it already. That's fine. I don't need you to show me this, okay? If you can see that this came from this without doing that stuff, that means you're just thinking the properties in your head. I'm okay with that, okay? I'm not going to make you show me those properties every time. Okay, letter C, this one. There's a few ways you could think about this. The way that I tend to think about it is I take a look at this and I think y divided by y is what? anything divided by itself is 1. So I think of this as 6 times x times 1. Just break it into 3 things, which means you could do the commutative property now. 6 times 1 times x. 6 times 1 is the identity property now, which says anything times 1 is itself back. So 6 times x. But again, if you get from here straight to here, I'm totally fine with that. Okay? Okay. Last couple things. Deductive reasoning. Have you heard that term before? Do you know what it means to deduce something?
Smaller.
That's reduce, right? Yeah, deduce is like from something you're getting it to, kind of narrowing down. Deductive reasoning is this. It is the process of reasoning logically. So if you're a logical thinker, that's huge. Use logic, right? What makes sense in this situation? The process of reasoning logically from given facts to a conclusion. Okay, so you look at a scenario and you go, I'm going to say this is what happened, right? Like a police officer would do this a lot when they show up to the scene of an accident. Well, I see the skid marks are here. I see the point of impact was here. I'm going to say this is what took place, right? They use a lot of deductive reasoning. Everyone in the world uses a lot of deductive reasoning. That's just one example. A counterexample to a situation is basically saying, here's where this statement is false. Here's where this doesn't work out. So you might come up with a conclusion and then realize, nope, there is a situation that says this won't work every single time. If you can find a situation where it doesn't work every single time, that's a counterexample, okay? So we're going to use deductive reasoning and counterexamples to look at these statements. I want to know, are these 4 statements true or false? If they're true, great, tell me which property makes it true. If they're false, tell me a counterexample. What can you find numerically that would say, nope, that's not going to work? Okay? Try that. And feel free to chat with your neighbor about it. True or false? Tell me why. Not on my end. What Wi-Fi are you on? What Wi-Fi are you guys on? Are you on PC Manage?
No, I'm on Student 09.
Student 09.
Better like that.
You should stop by Mr. Parsons.
Okay.
Yeah, have him. All right. How we doing?
Good.
Let's look at letter A. For all real numbers A and B, is it true that A times B will equal B plus A?
Nope.
Why not? Did you get a counterexample? So 2 times 5 does not equal 5 plus 2, right? 10 does not equal 7. So this is a counterexample. When you can show me a scenario where it doesn't work. Sorry, I said true or false. It's false. How about letter B? True or false? True. Okay, now if it's true, I want to know the properties that make it true. There's the associative property. Is that it? There's commutative as well, right? So the A and B swapped, and then the parentheses moved somewhere else. So this is actually commutative and associative of addition. Do you see that? So they swapped A and B, and then the parentheses moved from A and B to A and C. Okay, so different order. All right, how about this one? If you have real numbers J and K, you can say J times K equals K plus 0 times J. True. Do you see, there's two properties here again. Which two properties do you see? Not associative. Identity would be the first one, right? K plus 0 equals K. So identity of what? Addition or multiplication? That's identity of addition, right? K plus 0. So identity of addition makes that K. So now we're here. J times K equals K times J. What property is that? That's commutative of multiplication. Yeah. Make sense? All right. Last one. For all real numbers m and n, m times n plus 1 equals m times n plus 1. Do you have a counterexample if it's false?
Because you can't do plus, because the n will also have to add to the 1 to the 1 different.
So did you come up with did you use numbers?
Yeah, 2 times n is 2, n is 3.
So 2 times 3 plus 1 would have to equal 2 times 3 plus 1. PEMDAS says 4, so 4 times 2 is 8, would have to equal 6 plus 1, which is 7, right? Those are not equal. So that is a counterexample. And anytime you find a counterexample, that makes the whole thing false. Good? Questions? Okay. Real briefly, because I would like to give you some time to work on your homework right now. I'm going to talk you through topics for your quiz. And then tomorrow we'll do just a little bit of review stuff together. Let me double check something here. So there is something called the in-class review 1-1 to 1-4. You are welcome to look at that tonight if you're trying to prepare for the quiz. If you want to try it, go for it. We will probably just go over it in class. I think I'm going to change it to not being a submission tomorrow because I don't know that we'll get through it all. So I was going to have you submit it tomorrow at the end of class for points, but I don't want to guarantee that we're going to have enough time for that. So if you want to take a look at that tonight, I put a doc in instead of a PDF. Did it get all goofy? Did you click on it? I'm going to change that. If you want to take a look tonight, you are welcome to do that. You don't have to do it. It is not homework. We will look at it tomorrow in class right before the quiz just for some review. Okay? You know what I mean, right? I'm going to do that all the time, you guys. Okay. Let's talk quiz real fast. The first thing you're going to do on the quiz is algebraic expression. So I'm going to say, write an expression for the product of 16 and a number n. And you need to be able to write that as 16n. Then I'm going to say, evaluate that expression if n is 42. So you're going to plug in a 42 and tell me what it equals. Okay, so it's kind of combining two of the concepts we've done. Your warm-up today, where you had to put things in order, there's one of those on the quiz. So you should be able to put things in order using radicals and fractions and decimals. There are 4 questions that are just showing me that you know how to use PEMDAS. So parentheses first, then exponents, then multiply, then divide, multiply and divide together, then add and subtract together. Okay, so 4 of those. There are 3 where you have to tell me the property, which is what we were just talking through, right? Is it commutative of addition? Is it commutative of multiplication? Is it associative? Is it, tell me which property it is. There are 3, like what I just went over with you in the homework, the ones that I skipped that I didn't want to skip, where I give you like the square root of 47, and you say that is an irrational number. Or I give you 56, and you tell me that is real, and it is rational, and it is an integer, and it is a whole number, and it is natural, right? So you're just going to have to circle which categories it falls into. You don't need to remember the names. You just circle the ones that work, okay? So make sure you know all those. You'll have to simplify a couple radicals, and you'll be able to use your calculator with that, but you'll also have to estimate a radical. So like, make sure I don't give you the one that is in the quiz. If I tell you the square root of 86, okay, you're going to have to show me, not just say, oh, that's 9. If you tell me 9, I will mark it wrong. You will get partial credit because you're right, but you have to show me that it is 9 because this is between the square root of 81 and the square root of 100, right? 86 comes between there because it's closer to this. It is 9. Okay? That's your whole quiz. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
What's the difference when it asks you to simplify and evaluate?
So simplify is like break it down as much as you can, but there might still be variables in your answer. Not always. Sometimes when you simplify, the variables go away. Evaluate will always get you a number answer, no variables. Anything else?
Was it using a whole and natural number?
Whole includes 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Natural is 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. Okay? I always tell people a whole number, right, kind of has a 0 right in the middle of it. So just remember, whole is the natural numbers plus 0. Yeah.
So 100 is a whole number?
100 is a whole number.
And then 101?
Yep, those are whole numbers. There can't be decimal points for whole numbers, right? It's the natural numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 0. That makes it whole numbers. Anything else? All right.